Have you ever wondered why whistling indoors brings bad luck? Or why we wish on eyelashes? What about the tradition of wearing black when mourning? Well, here at List 25, we're obsessed with all things mysterious. And today, I'm delving into the fascinating backstories of 25 superstitions that have stood the test of time. I'm Mike with List 25, and from flipping fish to the devil's toys, join me as we take a look at the 25 surprising origins of superstitions. 25. The Filipino superstition about wakes. Depending on where you are in the world, you might not be familiar with Filipino traditions or customs. One of these is known as pagpag. Should you ever attend a Filipino funeral, you will see that instead of going straight home after the service, Filipinos often make a quick stop at a cafe or store. This is done to shake off any lingering spirits that haven't found their way to the afterlife after the event. It's a way to prevent wandering spirits from following mourners home and protect loved ones and homes from any unwanted spiritual influence. 24. Sneezes and blessings. Do you say bless you when someone sneezes? You might be surprised to learn that the saying was influenced by the bubonic plague. Back then, a hearty sneeze was often a sign that death was near. Pope Gregory I, hoping to offer some protection, suggested saying God bless you as a little prayer for the sneezer. Some people also believe that the custom developed from the belief that sneezing could eject your soul from your body, leaving you vulnerable to evil spirits. So bless you was like a quick spiritual shield to bring your soul back safe and sound. 23. Empty bottles. In Russia, you'll never see an empty bottle left on the table. It's considered bad luck. I'm talking a massive no-no. They believe those empty bottles should always go straight to the floor. The superstition dates back to when Cossack soldiers defeated Napoleon in 1814. There are a couple of theories about why it's considered bad luck. Some say it was a clever trick to confuse enemy spies, making them think the Cossacks had more to drink and were therefore tougher. Others believe it was a way to appease the spirits of the dead, who might be thirsty for a sip of whatever's left in the bottle. Whatever the reason, it's definitely stood the test of time. Butterbeer, by the way. Delicious. It's gone. Yep. 22. Seeing a spider in the morning. In Japan, seeing a spider in the morning isn't a cause for alarm. In fact, it's considered a good omen. It's believed that these eight-legged critters are messengers from the spirit world, bringing good fortune and blessings. This belief might have something to do with the fact that spiders tend to spin their webs in good weather. So, if you see a spider busily weaving away in the morning sun, it might just mean you're in for a lucky day. 21. Bananas and boats. Have you ever heard it's bad luck to bring bananas on a boat? Sounds crazy, right? But this superstition has been around for ages. Back in the 1700s, ships sailing from the Caribbean started vanishing. And guess what was often the only thing found floating around in the pretty blue waters? Yep, bananas. This led sailors to believe the yellow fruit was cursed. Now, there are several theories about why bananas might have floated around in the ocean. Maybe they were thrown overboard because they attracted pests, or maybe they spoiled the other food on board. Whatever the reason, you might want to reconsider your snack choice when traveling by boat. Just to be on the safe side. 20. Whistling indoors. In Ukraine, you might get some strange looks if you start whistling indoors. It's not that they don't appreciate a good tune, but they do believe whistling inside can bring bad luck and even financial problems. For them, it's like whistling away your money. Literally. Some even say it attracts evil spirits. So, if you find yourself in a Ukrainian home, maybe stick to humming or singing your favorite melodies instead. 19. Burning bay leaves. In ancient times, people didn't just use bay leaves to flavor their curries and stews. They believed these leaves held mystical powers. The priestesses of Apollo, the Greek god of prophecy, would burn bay leaves and inhale the smoke to get a glimpse into the future and enhance their visions. In some cultures, these leaves are burned to this day for their supposed cleaning and purifying properties. 18. Four-leaf clovers. I think everyone in the Western world knows there's a certain amount of luck tied to a four-leaf clover. But did you know this superstition goes back hundreds of years? The ancient Celts believed these rare clovers protected them from misfortune and evil spirits, and during the Middle Ages, children believed they would see fairies if they carried one around. However, the first time the luck associated with a four-leaf clover was mentioned in writing was in 1620 by Sir John Melton. So, if you ever spot one of these little green treasures, consider yourself extra lucky. 17. Wearing black for mourning. Have you ever wondered why we all wear black at funerals? The tradition actually dates back thousands of years to the ancient Romans. When they were grieving, they would trade their usual white togas for a dark version called toga pulla. It was their way of showing sorrow and respect for the person they lost. So the next time you're at a funeral, remember, you're not just wearing black, you're participating in a ritual that's been around for centuries. 16. Handshakes over a threshold. If you've ever been to Russia or met someone from there, you might have noticed they refuse to shake hands over a threshold. It's considered a major faux pas. Why? Well, in their folklore, the threshold is basically the home base for the domovoi, their version of a house spirit. So reaching across that boundary for a handshake is basically messing with the domovoi's vibes. Not a good idea if you need good luck and all that. 15. Seeing a single magpie. When you come across a lone magpie, do you feel a shiver run down your spine? Well, you're not alone. With roots dating back to Jesus' time, this seemingly harmless bird carries a heavy burden of superstition. Some believe that the magpie was the only bird who refused to mourn or comfort Jesus during his crucifixion. Even Noah, we're told, couldn't entice the magpie aboard the ark, leaving it with a reputation for bad luck and ill omen. 14. Wishing on eyelashes. Are you the type that makes a wish on fallen eyelashes? Well, you might be tapping into a tradition dating back to the 19th century. Back then, people believed a fallen eyelash held a bit of magic. They'd place it on the back of their hand, make a wish, and toss it over their shoulder. But there was a catch. If the eyelash got stuck on the way down, well, let's just say your wish wasn't going anywhere. I've actually seen it where you put it between two fingers and pull apart, and whoever gets it gets the wish. 13. Wearing bells on your wedding day. In Ireland, the joyful sound of bells at a wedding is actually a powerful symbol of protection for the lovebirds tying the knot. You see, they believe the ringing of the bells will scare off any evil spirits that might be lurking around, in the process ensuring that the couple will have a long and happy marriage. Some brides are so into this tradition that they even tuck tiny bells into their bouquets. You know, just to be extra safe. Oh, and here's a fun fact. Did you know that liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing really helps the channel so we can keep making videos like this? Oh, and don't forget to check out our socials. Now back to the list. 12. Chewing gum at night. In Turkey, late night snacking can be incredibly creepy. They have this wild superstition that if you chew gum after dark, it mysteriously transforms into the flesh of the dead. I know, horror movie fodder, right? No one really knows where this bizarre belief came from, but hey, next time you're in Turkey and craving a stick of gum, maybe just wait until the morning. 11. Flipping fish in China. In China, there is a fascinating superstition surrounding fish that you might not know about. If you're ever served a whole fish in a restaurant or at a friend's home, don't even think about flipping it over to get to the other side. It's considered seriously bad luck. This belief stems from China's coastal communities, where fishing is a way of life. Flipping a fish on your plate is seen as the equivalent of capsizing a fishing boat, a terrifying thought for any family relying on the sea for their livelihood. 10. Never turn your loaf of bread upside down. Have you ever encountered someone who's a bit funny about their bread? For instance, flipping a loaf of bread upside down is practically a cardinal sin in some cultures. It might seem strange, but this specific bread taboo has a dark and twisted path. One common explanation comes from French folklore, where it's said that during public executions, the baker would set aside a loaf of bread for the executioner. And to make sure no one else accidentally snagged it, they'd flip it upside down. So, an upside down loaf of bread became the symbol of death and bad luck, and people avoided it like the plague. Whoops. 9. Keys on the table. If you're ever in Sweden and you're tempted to toss your keys on the table, don't do it. It might seem harmless enough, but in Swedish culture it's believed to be a magnet for bad luck. This superstition has a bit of a scandalous past. Back in the day, it was said that certain ladies in the night would subtly signal their availability by placing their keys on the table. I know, who knew keys could be so suggestive? Just keep your keys tucked away. I mean, you wouldn't want anyone getting the wrong idea now, would you? 8. Yellow flowers and love. In Russia, if you're looking to woo someone with flowers, steer clear from the yellow ones. While they might seem cheerful, they're anything but when it comes to romance. Gifting yellow blossoms is actually as good as waving red flags, signaling potential heartbreak, infidelity, or even a full-blown breakup. The unexpected superstition might have its roots in the Victorian era, where yellow flowers were often associated with fading love or jealousy. In Russia, the idea stuck around, and yellow flowers are a major no-go for expressing affection. 7. Lucky dog poop. Have you ever heard the saying, break a leg? Well, the French have a different take on good luck charms. And it's not for the faint of heart. In France, believe it or not, accidentally stepping in dog poo with your left foot is considered a sign of good fortune. The unusual superstition has its roots back in the theater world. You see, back in the day when horse-drawn carriages were the main mode of transportation, a pile of hot steaming merde outside the theater meant lots of spectators and a successful show. Actors would wish each other merde for luck, and stepping in it with the left foot became a way to embrace that wish. 6. Knitting outside. If you're a knitter planning a trip to Iceland, you should pack your needles carefully and stick to knitting indoors only. You see, Icelanders have a deep-rooted belief in the magical beings that inhabit their island. Elves, fairies, trolls, the whole gang. And when you're knitting outside, those clicking needles could be seen as a disturbance to these mystical creatures, potentially upsetting the natural balance and even prolonging the harsh Icelandic winter. I don't know, maybe the cold got to them, but hey, who are we to mess with Iceland's magical beings? 5. The Devil's Toy. Syria might not be the first place that comes to mind when you think of yo-yos, but the toy has a surprisingly dramatic history there. Back in 1933, during a devastating drought and a bitter cold spell, the Syrian government did the unthinkable. They banned yo-yos. The ban was in response to the superstitious belief that the innocent toy was somehow actually responsible for the extreme weather and its harsh impact on local agriculture. The ban didn't last forever, but yo-yos never quite got the traction they obtained elsewhere. 4. The Last Supper Curse. If you're hosting a dinner and find yourself with 13 people at the table, you might want to reconsider. Why? Well, in Italian folklore, it's believed to be a one-way ticket to a year of bad luck. The infamous Last Supper Curse. The superstition comes from the biblical tale of Jesus' Last Supper, where he and his 12 apostles made a faithful group of 13. Italians believe that repeating this number at a dinner table is a recipe for disaster, potentially leading to the death of one of the diners within the year. So, if you're the host, maybe play it safe and stick to a smaller, less ominous number of guests. Like 666. Actually, didn't we determine it's 616? 3. Carrying acorns for good luck. The humble acorn isn't just a squirrel's favorite snack. It's been a symbol of power and mystery in various cultures for centuries. In ancient Celtic and Nordic traditions, the acorn was revered for its association with immortality, fertility, and the life force itself. Some even believe the word druid, the wise spiritual leaders of the Celts, is derived from their word for acorn. The superstitions have stayed with us over time. Even today, some folks swear by it and carry an acorn around with them as a lucky charm. 2. Seeing an owl during the day. Have you ever encountered an owl during the daytime? In ancient Greece and Rome, they believed these birds were actually witches in disguise, flying around to snatch babies in the sunlight. In other cultures, owls got an equally bad rap as messengers for witches, and it was believed that their hoots were a warning of impending doom. Well, it's no wonder these majestic creatures were once killed on sight. Luckily, we've moved past these superstitions, finally recognizing owls for the wise and beautiful animals they are. 1. Keeping your belly button hidden. If you're ever caught in a thunderstorm in Japan, you might notice the locals doing something a bit unusual, covering their belly buttons. The behavior comes from a superstition surrounding Raijin, the god of thunder. According to the belief, Raijin has a peculiar craving for children's belly buttons, and during thunderstorms he swoops down from the sky to snatch a tasty treat. Whether you believe it or not, it's a fun little practice that adds a touch of whimsy to an otherwise stormy day. So, what's a superstition you hold dear? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, you are in for a treat, because a while back, we put together another awesome video on 25 unexpected origins of popular sayings. And I am happy to say that if you were curious where phrases like bite the bullet, spill the beans, or even skeleton in the closet come from, I've got you covered. So to head to that video now, just click on the link right here. Learn more, nailed it, self high five. Just click. Mess that up.